If you are between 65 and 80 years old, stop doing this immediately, it's harming your health. Life between the ages of 65 and 80 can be seen as a phase full of changes. This is a time when people can enjoy peace and relaxation after years of hard work, but it is also when health is no longer the same as before. These years should be a period of rest and enjoyment, yet many people unknowingly maintain habits that seem harmless but are actually silently damaging their health. 1. Lack of physical activity, when the body no longer moves enough. Many elderly individuals tend to sit more and move less because they feel their bodies are no longer as flexible as before. They prefer to spend more time resting, sitting on a chair watching TV, reading newspapers, or simply lying in bed because they don't want to move much. Walks that used to be a daily activity gradually become rare, replaced by lazy mornings and quiet afternoons indoors. As movement becomes more difficult, participation in physical activities is slowly forgotten. Those who once enjoyed sports may no longer have the motivation to maintain their exercise habits. Over time, they find it exhausting to walk more than a few hundred meters, feel tired climbing stairs, or even struggle to stand for long periods. As time passes, some people believe they no longer need to move, thinking that exercising or walking a lot is no longer suitable for their age. When the body gradually loses flexibility, they tend to avoid physical activities, unintentionally falling into a cycle that not everyone realizes. 2. Unhealthy eating habits, when old habits persist. Eating habits are formed over many years and are not easy to change with age. Many people maintain the same diet from their younger years, unaware that their bodies have changed significantly. Meals high in salt, oil, or spicy foods continue to appear on their dining table. They may still enjoy strong coffee in the morning, indulge in fried foods in the afternoon, or have a habit of eating salty foods without considering reducing their salt intake. On the other hand, some people, fearing health problems, impose extreme dietary restrictions on themselves. They completely eliminate fats, drastically reduce carbohydrates, and even eat very little each day for fear of gaining weight or affecting their blood pressure. Over time, meals become monotonous and nutrient deficient, leaving their bodies without enough energy to maintain daily activities. Unhealthy eating habits also stem from being unaware of the body's nutritional needs. Some people eat just to get through the meal, without considering the balance of nutrients, failing to supplement essential vitamins and minerals, or forgetting that their bodies need sufficient water every day. 3. Staying up late, not getting enough sleep, when long nights become a habit. Sleep is essential for health, but as people age, not everyone maintains a proper sleep schedule. Some elderly individuals, due to habits from their younger years, still keep irregular hours, staying up late watching TV, reading, or scrolling through their phones without considering going to bed early. Long nights of tossing and turning, frequent awakenings, and sluggish mornings due to lack of sleep gradually become routine. Some experience sleep difficulties but do not seek solutions, instead accepting that they only sleep a few hours each night. They spend late hours thinking, reminiscing about the past, or simply lying in bed unable to fall asleep. Others develop an irregular sleep pattern, napping too much during the day and then staying awake all night. These sleepless nights or insufficient rest make the body feel tired the next morning, yet many think this is just a normal part of aging. They do not attempt to change this habit and continue to let sleep deprivation persist, unknowingly allowing their bodies to grow more fatigued. 4. Overuse of medication, when taking medicine becomes a routine. Between the ages of 65 and 80, many people face chronic illnesses that require them to take medication daily. Taking medicine gradually becomes an unavoidable habit, and sometimes, they become too dependent on medication without thoroughly understanding its effects. Some people buy painkillers whenever they feel body aches without a doctor's prescription. Others take sleeping pills whenever they struggle to sleep, without considering whether long-term use is beneficial. Some medications are recommended through word of mouth as being good for health, but not everyone verifies whether they are actually suitable for their condition. The tendency to use medication carelessly means that many do not pay attention to dosage, timing, or potential interactions between different drugs. Some take medicine inconsistently, forgetting doses or stopping treatment early when they feel better. Conversely, others increase their medication intake when they don't see immediate effects. 5. Isolation and social withdrawal. When life becomes quieter. Life in old age is no longer as busy as before. Children grow up, friends become less available, and many elderly individuals gradually withdraw into isolation. They no longer feel excited about social activities, rarely take the initiative to call or meet with relatives and friends. As time goes on, loneliness becomes an inevitable part of life. The days pass in silence, with no one to talk to, no joyful gatherings as before. They begin to withdraw, staying at home, and avoiding participation in outside activities. Therefore, the later years of life should be a time to enjoy life, but habits that seem harmless can unknowingly affect health in ways that people don't realize. A happy and healthy life does not depend solely on age but also on how we take care of ourselves every day. Dike Sang Tiang On. ChatGPT de Noi. The story of Mr. William, when old age is not what he expected. In a peaceful suburb of England, there lived a man named William Carter. He was 72 years old and had spent his life working as a civil engineer, dedicating himself entirely to his career. When he was younger, William was always busy with construction projects, long business trips, and countless meetings. But after retiring, his life took a completely different turn. He had thought that retirement would be a time to enjoy life, reading books, sipping tea in the afternoon, meeting friends, traveling with his wife, and spending peaceful days with his children and grandchildren. However, things did not turn out as he had expected. At first, retirement felt exciting. William would wake up early, make coffee, read the newspaper by the window, take a walk around the neighborhood, and return home to enjoy breakfast with his wife, Margaret. Occasionally, he would visit old friends, chat with neighbors, or participate in community activities. But as time passed and the novelty of retired life faded, he began to feel that his days were slow and repetitive. His habits gradually changed. The morning walks he once considered essential for staying healthy were slowly pushed aside. On chilly days, he felt too lazy to go outside and told himself, "I'll go tomorrow instead." But then tomorrow became next week, and next week became never. Over time, he spent more and more time indoors, sitting for hours in his favorite armchair, watching TV, browsing news on his phone, or simply gazing out the window, lost in thought. Margaret, his lifelong companion, always tried to prepare nutritious meals for both of them. But William paid little attention to it. He maintained the same eating habits he had when he was younger, preferring salty, fried foods and never skipping his strong morning coffee. Margaret reminded him that at his age, he should reduce salt and oil intake, but he would simply laugh it off, saying, "I've been eating like this my whole life, it's fine." And so, day by day, he continued to eat based on his preferences without considering his health. Gradually, William also started experiencing trouble sleeping. He used to fall asleep easily, but now, sleepless nights became more common. He stayed up late, sometimes until 2 or 3 a.m., just watching old TV shows, reading books, or sitting in silence, lost in thought. In the morning, he would sleep in until almost noon, disrupting his body's natural rhythm. Margaret repeatedly urged him to go to bed earlier, but he would smile and say, "I've lived over 70 years, staying up late a little won't hurt." However, he didn't realize that the lack of sleep was making him more fatigued, his memory was deteriorating, and he was becoming more irritable. Beyond sleep issues, William also suffered from frequent back and knee pain. Not wanting to bother the doctor, he started buying painkillers and taking them without consulting anyone. At first, the medication helped him feel more comfortable, but over time, he began using them more frequently, relying on them whenever he felt discomfort. He believed that as long as he took medicine, everything would be fine, without realizing the potential dangers of long-term overuse. It wasn't just his physical health that was deteriorating, his social life was suffering too. William had always been an outgoing man who loved socializing and had many friends. But as he aged, he gradually withdrew from social interactions. Many of his closest friends moved away to live with their children, some became too frail to go out often, and some had even passed away. Initially, he kept in touch with a few friends, but over time, he stopped making phone calls. He told himself that if they wanted to talk, they would reach out to him first. But as time went by, his phone rang less and less, and gatherings became rare. The house grew quieter than ever. His children had grown up, built their own families, and were busy with their own lives. They still called regularly to check on him, but William didn't want to bother them, so he would simply say he was doing fine. The truth was, he wasn't fine. He felt lonely in his own home. The days dragged on slowly, lacking the lively conversations and laughter of the past. Everything continued this way until one day, William had a minor accident at home. He slipped and fell while trying to reach a book on a high shelf. Margaret rushed to help him up. Fortunately, he wasn't seriously hurt, but the fall made him realize something. His body had become much weaker than before. Lying on the sofa and staring out the window, William started reflecting on how much he had changed over the years. He realized that he had neglected himself too much, avoiding exercise, eating without care, sleeping irregularly, relying on medication, and isolating himself from the people around him. He was no longer the strong, cheerful man he once was. The next morning, for the first time in years, William decided to put on his shoes and step outside. His legs felt heavier than before, but each step was a small act of change. He no longer wanted to continue his old habits. He started listening to Margaret's advice about nutrition, tried to go to bed at a reasonable hour, and, most importantly, reached out to his old friends and arranged a meeting for the weekend. From that day on, William's life gradually changed. He realized that aging was inevitable, but the way he lived each day truly determined his health and happiness. Even though it was late, he still had time to embrace life in a better way. Thank you for watching until the end. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to stay updated with the latest videos. See you in the next one.